welcome to my YouTube channel PowerBud. Today I am going to explain about the introduction to Altium. In this video I am going to explain about how to create a project in Altium, what are the steps behind to create a project in Altium, and what are the importance. So let's check what are the major steps. In here you can see the Altium design flow, and I have explained, I have just listed what are the different steps behind to create a project in Altium. So once you open the Altium, you have to create a project, that is a PCB project file you have to create. In that project file you have to add schematics and PCB, and you have to add libraries. So these three steps are mandatory to follow. And the fourth step is add other libraries like pad or via libraries. This is an optional step. And the final step is add outjob file. This is also an optional step. So once you add a schematic and PCB file, you can actually double click and open each of this file. Like once you double click the schematics file, it will open, and once you double click the PCB file, it will also open. But those files will be a blank document. In order to create a schematic diagram and also a PCB diagram, you have to add schematic and PCB symbols. These are the building blocks to create a schematic diagram, and for the PCB symbols are the building blocks. So once you add this library, you can call each of these symbols to the schematic document. For example, if you want to place a resistor, you can call a resistor symbol from the schematic library. And after completing the schematic diagram, you can generate the netlist. That is an automatic process in Altium. Once your netlist creation is completed, then you can open the PCB file. You can see the symbols, PCB symbols mapped to the schematic symbols. Okay. Then from there you have to place the PCB symbols corresponding to the schematic symbol. For example, if it is a filter circuit or a RC filter circuit, first component will be an R, that is a resistor, second will be a capacitor. So similarly in PCB file also, you will be having this resistor and capacitor footprint. You have to place that in the same manner which you followed in the schematics. This netlist will be there in the PCB file. Okay, so then the fourth step, that is other libraries. Suppose if you are following a specific standard for the wire, for example 0.3 mm wire, in your organization you are going to follow the same, then you can use that libraries. Otherwise you can use the default one, or you can manually add it in the PCB file. Okay, and finally the outjob file. This is also an optional step. In this step you have to create a directory where you are going to mention, for example, the schematic file or the PCB file. If you want to create a schematic file and you want to export so that it will be like in a production file format, schematic file will be corresponding to a PDF file, and PCB will be corresponding to Gerber. These details you can mention in a single directory, that is the outjob file. Otherwise you have to create all this manually. For example, you have to export to PDF from the schematic window, and in PCB window you have to go and you have to create the Gerber manually. These steps you can generate manually. Otherwise, if you don't want to follow every time these steps, you can create an outjob file. This is totally depending upon how or what kind of workflow you are following. And here you can see the connectivity between these stages. For example, we have added the schematic symbol, like schematic symbol library, footprint library, and we have created a schematic file, a PCB file. So this schematic diagram will be made up of these schematic symbols and these wire connections and the source and ground, all these kind of symbols. So once you place the schematic symbol in the schematic file, this symbol and a footprint is already mapped together. Okay, then once you generate the connectivity like the netlist, then this symbol will be appearing here, but it won't be like in a connected way. Some algorithms are there to auto connect, auto placement and auto routing, But if you are not using those algorithm, you have to manually place from, like for example, this symbol will be appearing somewhere in the corner. You have to place here. You have to make these connections. You have to arrange all other components how it should be. Okay, these details you have to take care. So this is the overall representation. For example, this is the schematic symbol and this is the PCB footprint symbol. Once you place the components in the PCB file, it will be like this, and this is the 3D model of the resistor which you are used. And in actual board you can see like this. When you get the PCB fabricated, you can see like this, fabricated and assembled board. Otherwise you can see only this white one with these through two holes you can see. Okay, and this is a kind of a representation how this component will be on top of the PCB. Okay, and once you start a project in Altium, your ultimate aim is to fabricate a PCB. So once you fabricate the PCB, you can see something like this. This is a 3D model of the PCB which designed the designed PCB 3D model. So after assembly you will get a similar product. Okay, so now let's check how to create the project in Altium. First of all, you have to open this Altium window and here file, new, project. Okay, always remember file, new, project. That means you have defined a project file. Okay, I am calling this as 004. So this will be your project name, PCB project name. And I have a default directory here. If you want to save to any other folder, you can just click on these three dots and you can select the folder. Okay, I'm creating a local project file. So if you are seen here, new project, you can actually create an Altium 365 project and a project with version control or a local project. This 365 project is something like you can see it in the online platform of the Altium. Okay, now I am not going to use all these. I'm only explaining about the local project. Okay, we have already created one. You can see here. Just see the extension. It is a PCB project, PRJ PCB. That means it is a PCB project file. So once you create a PCB project file, now the next step is add new to project schematic. So here what and all the things we have to add. The schematic file we have to add, PCB we have to add, schematic library we have to add, PCB library we have to add. These are the main 4 steps. Okay, so I am going to add first one schematic added. Next one, add new to project, PCB added, add new to project, schematic library added. So this is schematic library window. If you want to go to main project window, you have to click here, projects. Then next one, add new to project, PCB library. Okay, PCB library also we have added. So now all 4 main keys sub levels we have added here. Now you have to save the project. Just save the project. So project saving means you have to save all this one. So initially itself we have saved this PCB project file. Now each of this it is going to save. So first PCB1 library saved. Then next one schematic library we have to save. Okay, schematic library saved. And sheet 1, this is the schematic document also saved. Okay, now if you open this, you can see the schematic and PCB libraries. Double clicking and opening this will show how the panels are. Like this is the schematic document and PCB document file, schematic library, PCB library file. So here you have to create some components using all this. Like here you can like place, pin and all options are there. You can place pins, you can make a symbol, and here also you can place pins and make a symbol. Okay, I hope this is understandable. If you like the content, please like and subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching.